Something I enjoy doing is making websites from scratch. It's a tedious process, but the rewarding part is you're in full freedom of customization. So today I'll be showcasing how I explored creating a 3D landing page. So as you can see, my landing page is this cute airplane with a spinning propeller. You can drag around the plane to see at different angles. There's lights and shadows in the plane's texture. And there's a button on the bottom which would take you to my freestyle website. So right now this website you're looking at is not published yet, but I'll likely consider using this as my new landing page for freestyle. Anyway, so I'm going to briefly show you my inspiration. So as you know, Mr. Flow teaches you about website coding here there, and then I found this JavaScript library called 3JS. It's basically a 3D rendering library and framework for JavaScript. There are many functionalities. So here's this example of a 3D interactive ramen shop portfolio, and here is another one where there's a car and you can drive around to different parts of this person's portfolio. So what's cool is you can actually import 3D models from elsewhere, or a model you made in 3D software like Blender, which is what I did. I watched some Blender basics tutorials beforehand and decided to make a simple airplane. So right now the plane is a solid white color, but what we can do is paint each part with the solid color through the materials panel. So my plane body is now red and the wings are orange, and so on. Now, when I export this as a 3D file and put this straight into the website files, it renders as completely black, and that is because we need to add things like directional lights so the colors would appear and there would be shadows. So the good thing is that the 3JS library has a shadows feature, but it's not as good looking. It's a bit choppy. So here's an example. So here's a sneak peek of my Zenith project where you can see the shadows are a bit blocky. There's just random scratches right now. So the technique I use to fix this, make it look better, is called baking. So basically, texture baking means you are printing or embedding the shadow and light areas into the texture itself, so the browser doesn't have to calculate the shadows. If you're still confused, think about it like this. You're drawing a picture of a cube on a paper and you want to illustrate where the light and shadows are. You would use a lighter shade to show the light and a darker shade to show the shadows. You are mapping out different colors. So if you were to bake a cube, the cube would have different shades instead of having the same exact solid color throughout with the software calculating the shadows. So as you can see, my airplane has more smooth texture here, basically flawless shadows, no dents or any just pixelated cluttering or anything like that. And if you do texture baking, you don't need a directional light anymore because the shadows and light are already mapped out in the texture, but you need an ambient light so you can actually see your model. Otherwise, you would not be able to see your model at all. And you can also make repeating animations in Blender, and they can actually carry over to the website. So if you import a mixer that can play the animation. So here is, I actually got the plane's propellers spinning in my model, as you can see. And then in website customization, what I learned is font customization and styling through CSS or cascading style sheets. So I use this typewriter-like font and customize the buttons and positioning. And this website can also adapt to a mobile screen, so if I resize my window and refresh, my model will still fit. So there's still more I can do. So for example, I'm going to animate the title and the button real quick. So I'm going to use the keyframes property. And then the title will slide from the top and then have the bottom button fade in after. So yeah, there we have it. This is my 3D landing page I made. It was not as easy as I had to do lots of troubleshooting with texture baking, resolution, camera angles, adaptability. Luckily, there are lots of good YouTube tutorials out there. The 3JS documentation on their website was a great resource, and when in doubt, you can always ask for tips from AI. All these are great resources, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.